The following video is not intended for children, and it's best enjoyed if you either don't care about spoilers, or you already finished the patch indicated by the title. Now where's my chicken nuggets?
Hello, Steak Driven here, welcome back to the Newfound adventure! Shall we begin? If we are to spend the treasure wisely, then we must first determine which groups would benefit the most from monetary assistance. Some of my citizens may find it intimidating to speak to the satrap directly, so I would ask that you act in my stead and talk to 3 random people.
Oh, Boone, I was so glad you had returned unharmed. You finished with the boat then? Anything the village desperately needs? Well, I suppose Khazal's loss hit us the hardest. I've been trying to find buyers for my fish, but although I sell few here and there, it's so much more difficult than it was before. Everyone's still struggling to rebuild their lives. For now, we're just banding together as best we can.
Ah, my advisor's return. I've just made it back myself.
Why do you retain this vessel now that your true form is known? You could have flown across the island a fraction of the time.
Be that as it may, the sight of a massive creature descending from the sky can be startling to say the least, and there are a few places I can enter comfortably without risk of flattening some sort of cot or stall.
He's got a point.
Fair enough. As for my inquiries, the people of FFXIV were unanimous in their reply. They are surviving. Resources were stretched to the limit when refugees were pouring in, but they persevered with some assistance from Yedelmad. From what I understand, they've always been an independent community, hunters and foragers and the like, while I was assured the jungle provides for their needs, for the most part.
Yeah, they've got what's-her-face, the weapons dealer! FFXIV has weathered the disaster better than most, it seemed. Yeah, they've got Varsarud! Dude, of course they're gonna be okay! I myself heard good news and bad. The quarrymen were cautiously optimistic, having just sold a full wagon of giant skull to a foreign trader. But such visitors are few and far between. Compared to our best years, the weight of stone leaving Thavnir has been light indeed. Our nation is small and isolated, its prosperity dependent on a steady stream of exports. We must identify any obstacles to the flow of trade so that we might begin working to remove them. Tell me, what did you learn on your investigation?
Lots of stuff. Oh god, merchants are having trouble.
I see. Without a dedicated buyer, the average fisherman must struggle to offload his daily catch. Which is why I believe we should first address the lack of ships and shortage of able-bodied sailors in Yedelmad. I am reminded of a child I spied as I made my way back to the palace. His father lost at sea when the beasts sunk their vessel. So many variations of the same tragic tale repeated over and over. So many lives lost. So let's buy some boats. Oh, poor kid. Enough grief to drown in if we let ourselves be overcome, but we will not. Boone, Estinian, I will consider the perspectives you've brought me and devise a plan to help my people confront this adversity. Come, I would like you to be in attendance when I announce the proposal to my assembled functionaries.
Okie doke.
I thank you for your attendance. The riches the Radiant Host have retrieved were hoarded in Alzadar's name. A fortune I set aside for a future day of need.
It don't get much rainier than the final days.
And lo, that day hath come. May it aid our wounded city in reclaiming its vibrancy and vigor. In better times, I would leave such a task to our capable Ahawan. God's rest his soul.
Yeah, he was a cool guy.
Finding myself bereft of his counsel in the here and now, I will assume the responsibilities of mine office directly.
Cheers.
Firstly, The treasure shall be sold for more convenient currency. Thence, invested into the trading port of Yedlamad. Our merchants must have their operations restored, their ships rebuilt. Commerce must flow once more. None were spared the tragedy of the final days. Of this, I am well aware.
Yeah, that was pretty rough.
Rough.
But an absence was created by the loss of Kalzal's consortium. And by filling it, we provide new means for our fishermen, our artisans, and others to bring their wares to distant markets.
And what of the children who were left without family to care for them?
Build an orphanage, right? Like, a good one.
That is a concern which weigheth heavily upon my mind. A simple gift of coin will soon be exhausted, leaving these young souls adrift on the fringes of our society.
Give them jobs.
Nay, a proper solution is needed, one which doth guarantee their welfare for years to come. Thou hast surely seen how other nations rise to meet this challenge, adventurer.
Uh-oh, he's gonna ask me a question.
What dost thou deem the wisest course?
Okay. I've been practicing. Let's see here. The Firmament's orphanage was built through a communal restoration effort. I should know. I helped out in that restoration of Ishgard.
Of course. The revival of trade can contribute to the building of a new institution. Let us put this idea into practice. A contract shall be written, requiring all who receive of Al-Zadal's treasure to commit a portion of their future earnings towards the running of an orphanage.
Get that shit in writing, yeah.
Now, such an influential policy is deserving of a worthy name.
Please don't ask me to try to name it. Oh. Something with Kazal's name. I'm getting much better at this thinking thing.
A fitting candidate. Kazal should be remembered, not as the blasphemy which terrorized Thavne, but as a hard-working and generous man who brought much wealth to our shores.
Yeah.
Do any among you object to this proposition? Many here lost loved ones to the beasts.
And let me remind you that he never would have changed into that thing if the end singer hadn't been
In
singing.
that time of strife, any one of us could have broken. Any one of us may have been taken by despair. When I think of Kalzal, I feel no hatred. Only a stinging regret that we could not save him as well.
Based and true.
Isn't that right, men?
This bodes well for that boy. Mirad, was it? Perhaps he can cut ties with that shady peddler.
But wait a minute, if that place...
Then let it be done. Henceforth, this initiative shall be known as the Kalzal Foundation.
If he knew about the...
Nabdeen, thou art to assemble a patrol and ensure that no child in this city liveth in squalor.
Nice. But, like, how did the merchant come across one of his warding scrolls with a glyph on it? How did he get... How? But, I'd like to hear that story. Like, what?
Clerks, See to the management of our funds and make haste.
I'm not even supposed to be here today!
Citizens must not suffer a day more than is necessary.
Stop talking over the NPC, you nincompoop.
Smooth brain.
Dragon and man, side by side in pursuit of a brighter morrow. Reminded of Ishgard.
Yeah, same here. Oh, I put a bid down for a house plot there.
Thank you for putting forth Khazal's name. Those whose lives he enriched will take comfort in seeing his legacy honored. You will forgive me for not speaking sooner, but I bear a message from Archon Y'shtola. She asked that you meet her at the High Crucible at your earliest convenience. Understood. Thank you. Y'shtola must have finished her study of the voidgate. Shall we hear what she has to say then? I will go with you.
Yeah, I gotta take my punishment for sassing her earlier, too. Worth it! It'll be so worth it!
I thought the satrap would be too busy setting up the foundation. My clerks have been the well-oiled cogs of this administration since before Ahewan assumed the office. They understand what needs to be done. And I'm curious to learn what conclusion your Archon has reached concerning the gate's unique construction. As you wish. Allow me to lead the way, Your Excellency.
Let's get going. Hey, Stola.
Right, here we all are.
Indeed.
You discovered something new.
Ooh.
I took a closer look at that device. I was able to determine how it keeps the voidgate sealed, but not how it might instead be employed to expand the opening. For that, I would need to reference the technique developed by Vritra's alchemists, no records of which appear to have survived the intervening years.
We know this, so why have you sent for us? Have you learned aught of value or not?
Well, she was lonely.
Patience, good sir. One must introduce the subject before launching into specifics.
This is true.
From what we understand, travel between worlds is accomplished by passing through the nebulous rift which exists between them. Picture, if you will, the moment you were called to the first.
Okay. I was worried about all my friends who'd gotten their souls sucked out!
You touched a focus of some kind to help the Exarch pinpoint your location. His summoning spell then channeled the energies of the Crystal Tower to begin your journey to his world.
Yep.
The magics tore a hole in the wall separating source and shard, and cast you into the intervening nothingness.
Yeah.
In that place, the laws of nature hold no sway.
I was still sick to my stomach, so I think the laws of motion were in place.
Yet even through this realm of temporal and spatial instability, you were borne safely to your destination in the first. The feat that guided you across such an unimaginable distance, both physical and metaphorical, was nothing short of a miracle.
Miracles happen every day, don't they?
Hey, that's my line!
Then what of the many voids Sent found in the source?
Yeah.
Who guides them here, and how?
Emmett Selk probably did that, right? Like, made that possible, because he was a powerful
An
sorcerer.
excellent question.
We can't ask Emmett.
Though there are several
So-
methods by which the Void's denizens might intrude upon our world, the rituals of summoning are the most typical. For example, let us consider the Gargoyle, a creature of middling power.
Oh, I remember fighting one of them. Oh, several
To
of them,
call
actually.
upon such an entity, the prospective summoner must force open a voidgate.
Okay.
The portal lasts but a moment and is relatively small, allowing only an imp or other lesser being to squeeze through with their physical body intact.
Ah, okay. I assume they went into this further in the Weeping City of Mach, but I haven't gotten through that whole thing completely.
Our more powerful gargoyle, however, is too large for that. Creating a gate big enough for him would require vast amounts of energy, far beyond the reserves of any one mortal practitioner.
Didn't the Ascians summon one of those before? I could have sworn an Ascian actually... It might have even been La Brea.
Instead, 'tis far more common to bring over only the entity's soul. We had a taste of that ourselves when a certain exarch dragged us to the first.
Ah, you called out Raha. So what we see when they summon a big demon like that, it's just the soul. Whoa.
And just as our bodies remained in our world, the Void Sense physical form is left behind in the 13th.
Wow. It's crazy. Oh,
Once at its destination, the summoned soul is granted a temporary shell to inhabit. In the gargoyle's case, a stone effigy has proven a suitable vessel.
Whoa, okay, that's pretty cool. Wait, then what did we fight? Oh, so every time we fought one of these guys, it's been a void sent inside of a stone body. Ah, but it still looks like it's made of flesh.
Wait. You said that Voidsent must be called here deliberately by someone in the source, reeled in like a fisherman with his catch.
Exactly.
Kind of like that.
For a being to navigate the chaos of the rift, with or without form, there must needs be a guiding agent on the other side.
When the hordes poured forth from Alag's Great Gate, it was the technologists who drew them through.
Technologists.
Though to my knowledge, planar fissures are in essence natural passages between our world and the void, which require no such guidance to traverse.
So it's easier to get from the source to the 13th.
Why is only the boundary between the source and the 13th so fragile? So much so that it often tears open of its own accord.
Wasn't it because it was rejoined? No, not rejoined.
I believe solving that mystery is key to understanding travel between the source and its reflections.
I mean, it got fucked pretty hard by its own catastrophe.
How do you intend to get your answers?
Oh, I go into Spotify and I search for answers by Nobuo Uematsu. Oh.
No. The danger is too great.
Oh, Varshi! Please, can we go?
Perhaps. But what some call danger, others think of as adventure.
You know me too well.
Were you not listening to my tale? Never mind that the means to expand the gate has been lost to the ages. Even could you force the portal wide enough, you would be greeted by an army of murderous horrors the very instant you step through.
Sounds exciting! And I'm no stranger to expanding tiny
I
openings.
assure you I was most attentive. And I agree that to go alone would be certain death. But if I were to bring along one who has already braved the 13th, and humbled the cloud of darkness, well, I imagine my chances would be much improved.
I am your sword and your shield. I'm not gonna bother.
I had a feeling you might say that.
Not gonna bother with the edit this time. Oh, good shot. Ah, which I
Once
missed.
again, I put my life in your ever-reliable hands.
My hands are always available for you.
That said, as much as I would like to march straight back to the Void Gate, There is the small matter of being unable to open it without the Satrap's personal authority.
That glare. She's glaring right at him.
As I've said before, I will grant you and yours any boon you choose to name, provided it does not endanger my people.
Whew, good thing I didn't apply for citizenship here.
You have my word that we will take every precaution. Not a single void scent will be allowed to threaten Radzat-Han, assuming we manage to expand the portal in the first place.
I'm guessing that we're gonna
You
go
have
to
a
the
plan.
next expansion.
Actually, I had hoped you might help us with that. I presume the alchemists you retained supplied you with some explanation of their methodology.
That they did. House Daimir was overseeing the project.
I don't think we've heard names of houses before for Thavnir.
Daimir. Ah, yes. The family associated with the great work.
Oh, oh, that's where the... Yeah, okay. I know where that is.
I did not fully comprehend the theory, but their research began with a void scent which had slipped through the fissure.
Little bugger.
After a thorough examination, they created an arcane simulacrum possessed of similar qualities. A man-made void scent, if you will. It was apparently indispensable in their efforts to enlarge the gate.
An arcane entity is a creature without a soul.
A man-made void scent.
Yes. Being great admirers of the Archons, House Daimir submitted detailed notes to Sharlayan's official committee. They expected praise and accolades for their simulacrum, and were thus devastated to be informed that their work had been classified as prohibited material.
Hermes should have frickin' done that, right?
If that's true, then those notes might still be stored in a forbidden archive somewhere. Not Google, of course, since that library had yet to be built. Which leaves us with...
The secret area in the library? With Raha's favorite place to sneak around in?
Indeed. Numenon's restricted stacks may very well hold a copy.
So we gotta get you a level beyond Archon.
In which case, I say we head directly to Sharlyan.
Hooray! I'm in the mood for another burger. The shaking
Unless you
Nekomaru.
anticipate needing help to reach the high shelves, I see myself being of little use. Go on ahead. I still need to find Mirad and tell him about the Kalzal Foundation.
Alright, thanks for coming along, Astidian. It was fun.
How much more is there to the cutscene?
Let us be on our way as well.
Going to the library and we're gonna read some books. Dup, 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 dup. And I'm gonna get a
They are
burger.
resolved to venture into the void. Do I sit idly by?
You want to be in the trust system with us, don't you? If we are to enter Numenon's restricted archives with a minimum of fuss, then we must secure the permission of the Forum. First, however, we shall need to enlist the cooperation of a member to broach the matter on our behalf. Who do you think might be inclined to assist us? No one springs to mind? What about Skolak Montchain? I like that guy! He did come to Graha's defense during the inquiry, after all.
Okay, let's go.
'Tis settled. Let us head to Phenomenon, and see if he's willing to help us once more. Oh! Interesting. I apprenticed to Master Matoya at the age of 7, and labored under her for tutelage for a full decade. I never had the chance to attend the studium. New details! Neither did Thancred, as I recalled. Soon after Master Louisoix took him in off the streets, he was put into the care of another Archon. His was a rigorous and practical education in the arts of espionage and survival. I sometimes wonder what my life might have been like had I pursued studies here instead. You would have had the full college experience.
Should Should I wonder as well?
Oh, never mind me. 'Twas just an idle thought. But what if we talked about tea instead? Oh, that does sound lovely. Afternoons with friends spent sipping tea and debating theories. Still, I wouldn't give up my time with Master Matoya for the world. The dank cave I studied in was about as far from the bright, airy halls of academia as one could get, but it was a wondrous, magical childhood nonetheless. Aww.
Hey, Monty!
Ah, visitors, and quite esteemed ones at that. What can I do for you?
Pray forgive the intrusion, Scarlock, but we were hoping you might help us secure permission to enter Numenor's restricted archives.
Oh, oh, no furtive forays into the stacks this time, eh? I applaud this new sound sense of propriety, yet in all this world of comparative serenity, what so compels you to disturb a vault of forbidden wisdom?
Satisfaction! She needs satisfaction!
Is this gonna segue into a voice cutscene?
Fascinating. I had no idea such a technique existed.
I would have been surprised if you had. If my assumption is correct, the research left behind by House Daimia has lain dormant in Sharlyan's archives for many centuries.
And if you unearth this research, what then? Surely you don't intend to cross over into the void?
That is, in fact, precisely what we intend.
To what end, pray tell?
To develop a method for traversing the rift, for one, that I might keep my word to a distant friend. Sentiment aside, I have journeyed to the end of existence. I have heard, felt, thought, endlessly about the truth of our world and the echo of its future. And yet I want to understand everything, to unravel it all down to its very last secret.
Stole it! Oh!
What scholar worthy of the name wouldn't force open a voidgate or two if a grand revelation was the promised reward?
I love seeing you like this! You're in your element! Gosh!
Ha ha ha, marvelous. An audacious proposal worthy of Master Matoya herself. And after hearing the whys and wherefores, I for one do not believe you would use the knowledge for ill. I see no reason not to present your request for the forum's consideration.
Great, when's the next meeting?
Although your petition would be better received if you also had the support of another well-placed acquaintance.
Yeah, we gotta ask Alfie's dad, huh?
Why, Master Fulchinol, of course.
Forchanol, of course.
He can hardly ignore an earnest request from his dear children's most treasured comrades.
I was hesitant to approach him directly, but there is no denying that having Master Fulchanol at our side would tip the balance in our favor. Very well, we will pay a visit to the Levayor estate and plead our case.
Alright, maybe Emelians will have more tea.
One last thing before you go. I would consider it a personal favor if you might share with me the discoveries you make in the void. My appetite for knowledge is every bit as insatiable as yours, I'd wager. So if, you could see your way to indulging an old man's curiosity.
Of course, Scarlock. We'll be sure to pass on any revelations.
Ah, yes, Master Boone, Mistress Shishtola. How may I be of service? Oh, God.
We've come to speak with Master Fulchanol. Is he home by any chance?
Yes, the Master is in his residence. I shall inform him that he has guests.
He's gonna take some liberties.
I've taken the liberty of bringing him.
Well, Emelians would invite you inside for tea, but I assume this is not a social visit. You have some matter of import to discuss?
Yep.
Then pray proceed. You have my full attention. Blah.
Blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah.
Well, I suppose I should praise you for following the proper protocols this time around. God. Skarlak Montshane expressed much the same sentiment. I assure you will not attempt to circumvent the Forum's authority again, unless it is absolutely necessary, of course.
Of course. You do understand that the restricted archives are restricted for good reason, yes? If no pressing need exists, then why risk the consequences of employing this forbidden knowledge?
For a brother who misses his sister. She was his guardian and his friend. A selfless hero who crossed the rift between worlds to save her homeland from horror and suffering.
Hey, you're getting good at telling stories and such.
But the brother has given up thoughts of reunion. He spends his efforts elsewhere, watching over a people yet healing from the flames of the final days, loyal to his duty while betraying the longing in his heart. 'Tis no vital mission, perhaps, reuniting these siblings, but it feels a worthy cause to pursue all the same. As one who feared losing his own loved ones and spent years in research to prevent it, surely you appreciate how painful such a separation can be.
Ugh. You had to go there.
Reflections are still very much a mystery to us. Offering to share your experiences in the first should constitute a fair exchange for our cooperation.
Do not celebrate just yet. The Forum must still be convinced. I will add your request to the list of today's deliberations and deliver the decision to you at the Baldesian Annex. Hooray! Hello.
So, what did the Forum decide?
To put it bluntly, Master Matoya has burned some bridges here in Sharlyan and salted the earth for good measure. When it became clear that her student was the petitioner in question, well, no few members voiced their discontent. Then the chamber was reminded in no uncertain terms, I might add, of the incredible debt we owe to you and your companions. That served to silence the grumbles and stiffen a few spines, and it was agreed upon that allowing you to enter the archives, it would be the least we can do for you. Sorry, I just couldn't stop laughing there.
That is wonderful news. Thank you both for speaking on our behalf.
Yes, well, as I'm sure you're aware, the permission was not extended lightly. Forbidden knowledge is to be treated with the utmost caution, and there will be repercussions if it is not. I wish you well in your endeavor and bid you a good day. Good day, sir! He's become so much less of an asshole lately. Ever the same, that one. What are you talking about? It's like he's a completely different person from the first time I met him.
Uncompromising, aye. But that very stoicism is exactly what Sharlyan needed to guide it through not one, but two exoduses. That went rather well, I think. As a child, I dreamed up any number of schemes for getting my hands on those forbidden tomes, and now I can simply walk through the door.
You were thinking of being a little gremlin? That's awesome!
Our focus will be finding House Damia's research notes, of course, but the thought of so much knowledge at my disposal has me feeling a little giddy.
You want me to take you behind one of those bookshelves, don't you?
Guilty as charged.
You'll be heading directly to the archives from here, I presume.
Yeah, you presume correctly.
Then you'll want to speak with the index page when you arrive. It's been instructed to grant you access to the restricted section.
Excellent. Once again, we thank you for all your help.
Ah, what is my pleasure. Believe you me, may you find the knowledge you seek.
Stay awesome, Monty. Stay awesome.
Shall we?
We shall.
To think the set of instructions I laughingly imagined may actually exist, but yalms away from where you found me napping. If I had known Alzadil III's exploits sooner, I could well have saved myself days of research. Even a children's book might have pointed me in the right direction. To achieve the impossible, one must needs be flexible of mind and look beyond conventional wisdom. A lesson I had already learned, but clearly not taken to heart. Archon, Y'shtola, and guest identified. Do you wish to proceed into the restricted archives?
Yes, I do.
Follow me if you would. Watch your step, and please note that the use of naked flames is discouraged.
Cutscene time. Ooh.
The following pages detail an advanced method for manipulating rift-spanning apertures as devised by Newfound, 9th Patriarch of House Daemir. We present these research notes to the faculty of Sharlyan Studium as both a token of our friendship and an expression of our boundless admiration. I think I found it.
Have something you'd like to show me, do you? My apologies. I flipped open but a single book and was completely absorbed by the contents. Mode.
Here you go.
Well done, Boone. I think you may have found our prize. Groovy.
What a nice place. To think that it holds forbidden knowledge.
Yes, the ether signature is unmistakable. I've felt the traces of House Daemir's resonance many times at the Great Work.
Huh. You got really good at distinguishing different
Time
kinds
to
of
see
ether.
what all the fuss was about.
Excuse me. Oh god, it's an Atomos.
Among the ranks of the Void Sent, there exist entities with the power to call forth their brethren from beyond. The species known as Atomos, however, is uniquely prodigious in this regard. From its distended maw, it can expel an endless procession of void-born creatures. A talent which sorely tested the Radiant Host in its battles against these abominations.
I remember them from the Crystal Tower. Oh, tea feels so good on my throat.
Surmising that the entity itself was acting as a voidgate, we endeavored to capture a small specimen and subsequently examine its physiological structure.
Oh, wow.
Our findings reveal that the Atomos had absorbed a planar fissure into its own flesh, which it could expand at will into a functioning gate.
That's... wow. So we need like an artificial Atomos.
Upon further analysis, we identified an ethereal wave pattern emitted during this process. A pattern we were able to emulate by passing crystal-stored ether through a specially designed prism.
Nice.
We proceeded to embed said prism into an arcane simulacrum, thus completing what we have dubbed our artificial Atomos.
Wow. Yeah, I fought lots of those in the Crystal Tower. They,
How could I have been so blind to the possibilities? This species, not to mention its ability to summon void scent, has been discussed among academics for years now. Just before the advent of the 7th Umbral Calamity, we received reports of Atomos sightings from every corner of Eorzea.
I read about this.
Surely you've at least heard the tales.
Yes, I read about 1.0 before. I know that Atomos were added in 1.0 towards the end.
And still, House Daemir went and built a mock Atomos of their very own. I'm not surprised the Archons consigned their work to a restricted archive.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
'Twas no easy task, but at last we've unearthed the volume we've been searching for. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't tempted to stay longer. See what other forbidden titles might be lurking on these shelves.
Yeah, in that area under the stairs.
But that would be abusing the very special privilege we've been granted now, wouldn't it? Better not.
Yeah, that nook over there looks kind of promising. Da-da-da-da. We don't look at explosions, we just walk away.
As much as I would like to start crafting the Atomos, I'm afraid this is far outside my field of expertise. Fortunately, we know a Hunnish alchemist who would be delighted to involve herself in our House Daemir project. Oh, you're talking about Nadana. Our business here is concluded for a moment. Please pass on our regards to the forum.
Your message will be conveyed should you wish to indulge in more forbidden literature. I will be here, patron mode disabled, security mode engaged.
If anyone can help us, Nidana can. I say we return to Thavnair and look for her at the Great Work.
Yes, which we'll have to do in the next one.
That's our show. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please smash that like button. And if you really want to see more content like this, please subscribe and click that little bell icon. But more importantly, be excellent to each other and party on, dudes!